Welcome to Joy, Love, and Abundance, designed to lift up and explore the people, organizations, and experiences that create a more joyful, loving, and abundant world. Join hosts Rodney Eric Lopez, Patrice Tanaka, and Cyrus Webb as they share stories and insights that will inform and inspire you. Enjoy today's broadcast.
And welcome back, everyone, to Joy, Love, and Abundance. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by my great co-host, Patrice Tanaka, and Rodney Eric Lopez. We're excited to be with you all today for episode 24, but it also is our final episode. In this way, it seems. This chapter is coming to an end. Rodney, Patrice, it's hard. First of all, welcome to the show. I know it's so interesting this year, right? Everyone's kind of had their own beginnings and endings that have happened, either that are outside of their control or that they've chosen. But Rodney and Patrice, I want to say first of all, this has been such an extraordinary journey to be on with you all over these now 24 episodes. Patrice, you kicked this all off with us. I mean, how are you feeling at this point?
I'm really excited that we did this, that we, went on this joy, love, and abundance journey together, and that we did 24 episodes that I think we were all very happy about, and highlighting all of the people, organizations, and events in the world that were bringing us joy, love, and abundance. So I'm really pleased at what we've done together, and it has been a joy. So thank you, Cyrus.
Well, look, it's been a joy for me too. Rodney, man, you and I have only met each other in person once before we started on this journey together this year. But, I mean, what has this experience been like for you in these 24 episodes?
What I've loved about this experience is that it shows that, proximity, physical proximity doesn't have to be a barrier to doing something wonderful and to creating something new. And even though we've only met once, we've developed a relationship and a friendship over phone lines and over the internet, right? And so it's really been a wonderful opportunity to, every week, every couple of weeks, get the three of us together to talk about things that are really positive and things that hopefully lift the human spirit. And I think that what this last year has been, you talk about beginnings and endings. I mean, I think lots of people in 2020 took a pause and said, what do I want to be involved in, and what do I really want to spend my time doing? And I think the fact that, Patrice brought us together and we really created something special. 24 is a good number. I'm not a numerologist, but 24 is a beautiful round number. It has spiritual significance, and I think the fact that we created 24 episodes of a conversation where we're each adding joy, love, and abundance to the world, I think that's something special. And what you said over the email the other day, Cyrus, really stuck with me, is that this lives forever. It's recorded. It's in the atmosphere. It's in the universe, and regardless of whether we record these things live or not going forward, the 24 conversations are recorded and they're there for history. So it's been wonderful to be a part of it.
Such a great thing. And I want to say this for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We are glad you all were able to carry us, as well as all of our audience that's joining us via the podcast. A special shout out, I think, from all three of us to Spreaker and iHeartRadio. I mean, to have over 10,000 downloads of this show in 24 episodes, we want you all to know how much we truly appreciate you taking out the time to not just listen, but to want to download it, to keep it. And I thought about that, Rodney, because of what you said, because, I mean, literally that's another step. I mean, it's one thing for people to listen to us, but then to take the extra step to actually download the show, I mean, is means a lot to all of us. And I want to say that. And I also think we need to say this show is ending not because we're having any issues with one another. There are no problems with us. Yeah, there's no problems with any of us, but life is happening for all of us. We all have things going on. I have an extended schedule that is happening with me on my Amazon.com family, and each one of us will continue to be able to bring joy, love, and abundance in our different ways. I think this facet of the show may be ending, and I will even say for now, because who knows what could happen even for the radio and podcast audience. But there are more things we're definitely looking forward to, which brings us to our topic to kick off the show. Patrice, you wanted to talk about something when it comes to this topic. What was that?
Are we talking about beginnings and endings?
Right.
Or,
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I used to hate change, right? Especially change involving people and situations I love. So, but over the years, I've actually come to embrace change more and more, because I found that when one thing ends, it allows for the opportunity for something new to begin, right? And I know that with every ending, there is the excitement of a new beginning. And, I think back over the things in my life, and one example is the heartbreak I felt at having to sell my first PR agency, which I had co-founded with a group of 12 colleagues after leading them in a management buyback from our advertising agency parent. And we started an employee-owned agency with the 13 of us. But 12 years later, I realized that the best way to continue to grow the agency and provide, more opportunities for everyone, including myself, was to actually sell the agency, which is kind of a painful thought. But we sold to another like-minded PR agency in Richmond, Virginia, and we created CRT Tanaka, which is a larger, mid-sized national PR and marketing agency, and we grew that agency. And 8 years later, we sold CRT Tanaka to Padilla Spear Beardsley, a Minneapolis-based agency, to form Padilla CRT. And in that process, created one of the top 10 largest independent PR agencies and the largest employee-owned PR agency in the country, which I'm very proud of. So today, I'm much more comfortable with the idea of something ending to create the opportunity for an exciting new beginning. And like I said earlier, I'm really, really thankful for the opportunity to create Joy, Love, and Abundance with both of you over the past 10 months, 24 episodes. And I'm excited to kind of see what's going to happen as we each move forward to create a bigger, brighter future for ourselves and others, informed by this experience, because every experience that you go through informs you, right? Going further. So anyway, that's what I've been thinking when we decided that we would end this chapter.
Well, I appreciate that. Rodney, what about for you? I mean, what has your journey been like when it comes to beginnings and endings? Is it something that you've been able to welcome, or is it something that's evolved for you?
I think that in a number of ways, we all go through different kinds of beginnings and endings. And I agree with Patrice. I think sometimes change can be hard. It can be difficult. But I think when we learn to embrace that change, then, something grows out of it. When I was thinking about this topic earlier today, I was thinking about my journey as a parent. I have the joy and the privilege of being a parent to two wonderful boys who are now, they're older. One is 16 and the other one's 18, who just started college a month and a half ago. And I think about my journey as a parent and how there are lots of beginnings and endings when you're raising a child. There's infancy and the toddler stage and elementary school and all of these things. And as you go through these phases, you realize that maybe when you're in it, you might be frustrated and you might want to hurry up and get to the next stage. And then when you're there, you look back fondly and say, oh, man, I remember when I was just holding you in my arms and I was swaddling you. And now I'm dropping you off at your first day of college. And so, there are beginnings and endings and stages of life. And And even though my children are way too big for me to, to carry in my arms like I once did, I am enjoying seeing them, progress to the next stage of their life, the next stage of their adolescence, and eventually their young manhood and adulthood. And each stage of their lives has brought me tremendous joy, even though sometimes I mourn. The previous chapters. But I think we all go through that in our own way, whether we have children or not. But in my experience, so the experience of being a father, the experience of being a parent, has made me very present to the cycles and the seasons of beginnings and endings.
Love that. Well, I have to say, of course, you guys know I can sometimes be the ornery one of the group, but change is not something I have welcomed in my life. It is one of those things that. But I will say this: for this reason, and it kind of is also why with this is kind of, it's a sad thing for me in a sense, even though I know our friendship continues and the work we do continues, and really we will continue to share joy, love, and abundance. I'm a person who I don't become attached very easily to people, but I do get attached to ideas. And this is something, when Patrice first brought it to me, I thought it was such a great idea because it was so needed, I felt like. Something different than what was out there. And so for that reason, change is not easy for me in this respect because I see it, for myself, as, something that I really enjoy coming to a close. However, as the two of you mentioned, we just evolved. And I think it's a great reminder for our audience out there that even as they're assessing whether they should look at a different profession, make different changes in their lives, or, even though it may not be the most enjoyable at the time, knowing the good things that can come from it. And I think that's kind of how I make peace with things, is thinking about the other side of it, the joy that is yet to come. Instead of the joy that I may be giving up. And so I've had to recalibrate in that respect of thinking, okay, oh man, I really have enjoyed this. But then it's like, well, Cyrus, you can still enjoy. There's still more joy to be had. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. There is more joy to be had, And I think that it kind of sums up what we've done on this show, I feel like, in many ways, in talking about the different things. I mean, just to think about where we started this show, right? I mean, and how the world has changed in these 10 months. I think it's been great to be a part of that. So, Patrice, what do you hope then our audience, as they're seeing us kind of evolve from this chapter to the next, what do you hope they think about with their own lives?
To go forward fearlessly, right, and embrace every opportunity as a possible exciting new thing that's going to happen to them and make their lives even more joyful and loving and abundant. I think if we can kind of let go of the fears that whatever happens is not going to be a good thing, we leave room for the good things to actually happen to us. So let's try to, go forward fearlessly.
Yeah. Rodney, what about for you? What do you hope our audience realizes about embracing the beginnings and the endings?
Well, I think something that you said just a moment ago, Cyrus, is the message that I think anybody who's listening to this should take away. And actually, I think it might even make a great book title for you one day, The Joy That Is Yet to Come, right? Like, there's something anticipatory and forward-looking about that, and it recognizes that there may have been joy, there may have been comfort even in a previous state of affairs, but letting go of that and embracing something new can be scary, and it can be uncomfortable, and it can even be, frankly, disappointing. But it can also open the door to new joys and to new possibilities. And so the joy that is yet to come, I think that's I think we should trademark that, hashtag that, and take that message forward. Hopefully somebody else doesn't own it.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that too. Well, that brings us into, in this iteration of Joy, Love, and Abundance, our final round table of being able to discuss either organizations that have caught our attention or items that have caught our attention. It's no surprise. Let me go ahead and spoiler alert for everybody. Mine's a book again. so just so you all know, I'm staying consistent here. Yeah. But Rodney, there was an organization that you were telling us about that is doing some extraordinary work. Why don't you fill our audience in on that?
Oh, man, I was super excited to learn about this new startup nonprofit organization, and it actually there's a connection to something we discussed in a previous show when Patrice talked about a postcard campaign to the brother of a friend who is in prison. And there's a brand new startup that began last year during the middle of the pandemic. And the name of the organization is called Ameelio, and it's spelled Ameelio. And it was started by two graduate students from Yale University. I want to make sure that I pronounce their names properly. It's Uzoma Orchingwa and Gabe Saruhashi. And they both knew people, had friends who were incarcerated, and they realized when trying to communicate with them that, the industry that's in charge of communication with incarcerated people is pretty much owned by two telecommunications companies. It's a monopoly of two giant telecom companies. And one of these companies at one point was even charging $17 for a 15-minute phone call. And if anybody who's listening to this podcast has somebody that has a loved one, knows somebody who's been incarcerated, I have had family members who've been incarcerated. It is so difficult to stay in touch with people, to make the drives, to make the phone calls, to send the letters. It can be such a burden on families just to stay in touch with their incarcerated loved ones. And so what Ameelio realized, the founders of Ameelio realized, is that, these charges are serving as a regressive tax on some of the most vulnerable people in our community, and they want to disrupt that. They want to take the profit motive out of it, and so they started Ameelio as a nonprofit organization. And essentially, what they do is they've created an app that allows people outside of prisons to send their incarcerated friends and relatives postcards, letters, and photos for free. And that has the potential to be a game changer for millions of people who are affected by this and who are burdened by the high cost of just staying in touch. And not only is there a practical motivation to do this, there's really a moral imperative around this, because research shows that incarcerated people who are able to stay in regular contact with their loved ones have a higher rate of staying out of prison on the other side when they're released. And so it's really incredible work that these two are doing. They have raised $1.5 million in startup funds, which is just enough money to get them through 2021, and so they're looking to obviously raise more. They've had some high profile investors like the Robin Hood Foundation and some tech giants, but they're obviously looking to expand. They are serving a few state prison systems, but they're looking to expand to more state prison systems around the country, and then hopefully even some federal prison systems. And so I can't say enough about this brand new company. It sounds like something that really needs support, and I hope more people kind of learn about it. So I'm really excited to put their website in the show notes later.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Rodney. It really is powerful. And again, you're right. All of us know someone. If we don't have anyone personally, we know someone who has someone who is incarcerated. So it's great to know that there are people there that's trying to make that, at least that aspect of it, a little bit easier. Patrice, what about you? What caught your attention for this episode?
Yeah, I usually give shout-outs to nonprofits and causes, but today I want to give shout-outs to a number of amazing companies in the business world who are focused on enhancing employee wellness and well-being, which I know has and is creating more joy, love, and abundance for their employees and for these organizations. So shout outs to Michael Glazer, People Focused Consulting in Tokyo, whose life purpose is driving his work to make well-being at work a basic global human right. I just love that. And to Howard Lee, the CEO of UH Health Insurance in Honolulu, whose company started the Hawaii Health Alliance for thousands of employers in Hawaii to share best practices and resources to benefit their employees. And I want to give a shout-out to Kat Colella Graham of Cheer Partners for addressing topics like workplace wellness and belonging. And, yes, there is a definite connection between wellness and belonging. And she's doing this at her agency, Lippy Taylor, in New York City. And another big shout-out to Richard Edelman, the CEO of Edelman, which is the largest global PR agency, for giving all of his 6,000 employees the day off today, which is World Mental Health Day, to encourage self-care all year round. Richard says the focus on your well-being is non-negotiable. I love that. And then last but not least, a big shout-out to Dan Price, the CEO of Gravity Payments, a credit card processing company based in Seattle, who 6 years ago raised all of his employees' salaries to a minimum of $70,000 and dropped his own salary by $1 million to $70,000. And today, 6 years later, despite the pandemic and everything, Gravity Payments is thriving and their revenues have tripled. And their employees are thriving too. They've had babies, they've bought homes. Again, all of this thanks to Dan Price, because this CEO is definitely fostering wellness and well-being for his employees far beyond the workplace. So I wanted to do a shout-out to all of these leading lights and leaders in corporate America. Thank you for leading the way. Anyway, so that's my sharing this week.
Very
Thank
powerful,
you.
And you know, I will say this too, Patrice. In sharing that, it reminds us all, and even with what Rodney was sharing, I mean, so many times, even though we do appreciate them, for them to hear it, you know, a lot of times, unfortunately, and I've been guilty of that too. You just assume people know how much, you know, they mean to you, or how much you appreciate what they're doing. But for you to be able to take out that time, like what Rodney is doing with that organization, what you're doing with them, definitely shows them that too, and then it amplifies that then now that other people can be able to find out about them and their work they're doing too, and hopefully encourage them in their own little ways we've talked about to do their thing. Well, as I mentioned, I am discussing a book. There's a new book out this week at the time we're having this conversation. The book is called The Redemption of Bobby Love, a story of faith, family, and justice, and it's written by Bobby and Cheryl Love, a husband and wife, an extraordinary story of these two individuals where Bobby grew up, having issues, having run-ins with the law, ended up in prison, being given 30 years, and he escaped from prison. And he was, along the way, he ended up moving to North Carolina. And there he met Cheryl. I'm sorry, he left North Carolina, went to New York, where he met Cheryl. Their lives began, and she, I had a chance to interview them, the two of them, for the book, and what she said, she always thought there was something he was keeping from her, but had no idea it was that he had escaped from prison, Everyone thinks someone's not telling them everything, but that is a big thing. That's something you probably want to know.
Right.
But their journey, so you're able to. They chronicle their journey. It is the stuff that movies are made of, and I think the big takeaway is being able to find peace, but also to find forgiveness. That's one of the big lessons for me of the book, and I think it's a great reminder for all of us. So I definitely invite people. They've probably been seeing them all over. They've been on the Today Show and all over the place. But Bobby and Cheryl Love, again, the book is The Redemption of Bobby Love, a story of faith, family, and justice. It's available now on Amazon or through your favorite bookstore. Well, Rodney, Patrice, that brings us to the end of our broadcast, our 24th episode. Again, I have to say, Patrice, thank you so much for coming up with this idea for Joy, Love, and Abundance. It has been an extraordinary journey with you all over these 10 months, and I am looking forward to what's to come for all of us.
Yeah.
Likewise. Yeah. Absolutely. It's been a great ride.
Exactly. And for you, our audience, again, we cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your homes, into your vehicles. For our radio audience, appreciate you all for tuning in to us each week. And until you hear from us again, may you all continue to be able to bring joy, love, and abundance to your life and to be able to remind other people that they can have it in theirs. You all make it a great one. We will hope to talk to you all in some form or fashion real soon. Take care.